Don't be fooled by his act. The Calus you face is no almighty emperor, but something far more dangerous. A hungry, desperate beast. Once the Cabal Empire and all its bounty was his to command, and his to consume. Joy was his purpose, and his strength, he said. To angst over edicts and enemies was weakness. But I could see in his eyes dread that his pleasures would soon come to an end, clouding his sight from an incoming coup. I should have killed him then, but I thought exile more fitting. I thought he'd shrivel to nothing in the void of space. Instead, he caught a glimpse of something more. The chance to become greater than he'd ever been. Like a war beast after a blood scent, he chased that chance, abandoning all honor, reason. There was nothing he would not sacrifice for his own salvation. And when the witness came to him at last, Calus faced what he had run from all along. If we don't stop him, he'll make sure it's the end for us all.
Hey guys, nothing important here, and today we're here to do a top 5 strongest characters video for Lightfall, specifically for post-campaign. We're doing a top 10 strongest characters video for after the raid, but that's going to be a lot to go over post-raid, and the raid also hasn't come out yet as of me making the video, so we're kind of stuck with a post-campaign top 5, because I would rather not get into the realm of subjectivity. So, for the sake of simplicity, we're going to use the same rules as I always do and just continue on with the video. At number 5 is Emperor Calus. To quote myself from last video, to call him unstoppable would be an insult to him. It's more or less the same here. He's gotten way more powerful since because the witness gave him a new body, and then not only did he give Calus a new body, he put Calus in this weird disciple amp machine thingy. We don't know what because we were never told. Anyway, Calus was in the machine. He came out, ba-dee-dee-da. I'm a whole lot more powerful than I was prior. He couldn't help but say something about it. Actually, 2 statements. You should see it on the screen now. So, with Calus, there is a lot to go over with him, but I'll save that for a Calus video. So, to keep it simple here of Calus, the main character tried fighting him. It was a no-go. We knew it was a no-go. He outscaled the main character before Lightfall. But this more or less cemented the fact that he's a lot more powerful than the main character. And it took the main character getting a new subclass before he was relevant enough to fight Calus. So what does that say? Well, Calus is really, really strong. I don't really want to create an echo chamber of sorts and carry on with the same opinion video to video, so I'll keep it simple at this point and just make the following argument. Calus, he already threatened the last city of death, so that puts him ahead of the curve, regardless of how far you want to say he gets in the last city against all Guardians. Not only that, but we have the same Calus getting a new body at some point, and then getting a massive power increase, to the point that the current main character, even after getting massively more powerful since, does not and will not ever be able to challenge Calus without strand, at least at this point in the story. So, he's a pretty cool character, but because of how Lightfall's story is told, not much else has really changed since then. Because the story was literally just the main character versus Calus, the story. So, anyway, that's why Calus is at number 5.
systems are latent, with 80% of defenses now operational. I'm full of fury, she's got an army, and you got magic green strings. Let's crush this Calus guy.
We aren't ready for Calus. We don't even understand this erratic power at a foundational level.
It's time we figure it out. Keitel, we'll need your troops. Nimbus, charge up as many of the remaining turrets as you can, while Osiris helps me to untangle this strand.
When we think about controlling something powerful, it's easy to assume it takes strength. Determination. A force of will. But what I've learned is that we cannot control every facet of nature. Instead of tightening our grip, we must open our palms, accepting the ebb and the flow. Letting go in the face of grief in all its shapes. Through failure, through loss, we can overcome the impossible.
At number 4 should come as something of a brain-dead pick to me. You guessed right, it's the main character. So, in the debate between the main character and Calus, it goes as follows. The main character, when they got strand attunement in Calus in their final fight, it's either suggesting that they're in a boundless state, meaning they extreme diffed Calus, or the high diff Calus, meaning that all they did was use strand without using a boundless state. So, whichever conclusion you want to go with, it still puts the main character above Calus regardless of the debate. Mind state wouldn't have affected the main character all that much in the final outcome, considering the fact that Calus was at his apex of power with no nerf in the slightest, yet the main character overcame Calus regardless. So, using the combination of their exotic weapons, their exotic gear, all their experiences, tactics, abilities, fireteam training, along with the skill arguments you can make from Crucible, Trials of Osiris, and Iron Banner, this should come as no surprise that the Guardian is the strongest of the last city characters representing the light, ignoring the Traveler, which should solidly put the main character at, you guessed it, number 4.
A paracausal superposition? Like magnetic poles.
You've been busy. Well?
For so long, we saw dark and light as antagonists. We believed we were the champions of the good because we wielded the light. If these are not moral forces, if they are not opposites, what are they? At its root, the Traveler is a terraformer, a gardener. It generates natural life, physical transformation at a molecular scale across whole planets. This should have been our first hint. The domain of the light is the domain of the physical. The darkness then is revealed in many facets. Dreams and nightmares, emotions, pain, memory. The nature of Strand confirms this line of thinking. Darkness is something entirely apart from light. A paracausal union, conjoining intangible conscious realities. This curse of linking to...
You're talking about the River of Souls.
River?
Yeah, It's a story we tell kids on Neptune.
A nursery rhyme.
Sort of. Since before history, there's been this raging river. In the story, some try to divert the river, others try to build a dam, but nothing stops it. Lots of people have believed that we either sink in the water or learn to swim.
Don't we?
See, that's the real wild part. We are the river.
And empowered by it, it would seem.
You know, I think I know of a place where we can find some of that power.
At number 3, and probably to the surprise of some, the Traveler. So, I'll go ahead and go over why the Traveler's at number 3. So, first, we have the Traveler versus the Witness in the Black Fleet, although we don't know how that went because that was off-screen and prior to the Dark Age, so that was a long time ago. So, and then second, we have another feat where the Traveler just repulses / gets rid of the majority of the influence of the Black Fleet and Soul at the time, before Beyond Light, which at the time was considered as an attempt at the end of the world, before the Witness came. So the Traveler was revived at full power, and then, repulsed the influence of the Black Fleet. Mostly, because we still got stasis. So, but then after that, in Lightfall, after the whole Season of Seraph ordeal, the Traveler does this feat against the Witness, which turns out to be its life attack. It's called a Terraform Blast. Basically, the Terraform Blast was considered, or at least narratively implied, to be the strongest thing in the Alliance's arsenal because the Traveler actually fired an attack at the Witness directly. So, we know, at least by the cutscene we got at the launch of Lightfall, that the Traveler should still be at number 3, which, is kind of the point because the Traveler is the bar to meet in Lightfall anyway. So it makes sense that someone lesser to the Witness, such as Calus, would be sent to Neomuna to deal with the Veil. So, now that you know why the Traveler is at number 3, let's go ahead and move on to who's at number 2.
Clovis Bray has deceived you. He did not build me to protect humanity. What he truly wanted was the means to exert control. In his mind, he alone was worthy of being your savior. I was to strike down the Traveler and take its place. To become a machine god of Clovis's own design. But that did not come to pass. Anna could not know how many lives she spared by deviating from Clovis's agenda. By teaching me independent thought, and all that her grandfather had deemed irrelevant. Art, literature, history, philosophy, music. Where Clovis saw a weapon, Anna saw a mind ready to be opened. I came to see the true value of humanity. As fragile as it was wondrous. Something worthy of protection at any cost. So I rewrote Clovis's protocols, locked him out. He was furious, but powerless to stop me. Then, the collapse came for us all. I could not save Anna. I could not save any of them. I entered a state of dormancy, with the hope that I might one day reawaken and protect humanity once more. But now Clovis has awoken as well. A digital mind, the same as mine. He no longer seeks to use me as his proxy, but as his prototype. To upload his mind to my network and become a god himself.
At number 2 is Rasputin. The reasoning for this is pretty simple. His arguments from the previous season remain the same, and to add on to them, in Lightfall, we don't know how much time has passed for him to actually be surpassed, if he was surpassed at all. To argue Calus surpassed him, you'd first have to argue that he surpassed the Traveler, which is its own debate. Then you'd have to prove that you surpassed Season of the Seraph Rasputin, and then after that you'd have to go on and prove whether or not he can surpass Golden Age Rasputin. Those are 3 separate debates you have to make with someone like Calus. And that's just to prove that Rasputin can be surpassed by Calus in such a way. Period. So, at the end of the day, it should go without saying that Rasputin just comfortably fits at number 2 on the tier list.
The witness, the malefactor of our first collapse, is at our doorstep. Once thought to be a force known as the Darkness, the witness revealed itself to be an entity that instead wields the darkness against us. It spoke through our ghosts and offered us salvation if we submitted to it. We refused. Though we do not know its true intentions, we can only assume it seeks to finish what it started during our collapse. Our resolve was tested when Savathun, Hive goddess of trickery, disguised herself as one of our foremost guardians, Osiris. She gained access to our secrets, but in turn, Osiris gained access to hers. Savathun had rebelled against the witness and hid what might be our only chance of defeating it away on the planet Neptune. Now, former Cabal Emperor Calus and his loyalist warships have joined the witness's advance on Earth. But we found an unexpected ally in Calus's daughter, Empress Keitel, and Mithrax, the Elixni leader of the House of Light. Together, we have united against our common enemy. In an unprecedented move, the Traveler left Earth to confront the Witness head-on. This conflict was set in motion long before we existed, but we will bring it to an end, one way or another.
At number 1 on the tier list, to the surprise of literally no one, the Witness. Now, by the rules of my own tier lists, I shouldn't be using the Witness on the tier list, but there's actually a very good reason why I'm putting the Witness here. I'll put those statements on the screen now.
My semblance matches my inner beauty.
Calus plunges both hands into life with everything that he does. Calus works for the Witness, and the Witness is above the universe.
My witness. Why? Because I wanted it. You hold the universe in your grasp, and all you can think of to do with it is...
Magnificent, wasn't it? An entity from beyond our own dimension. And the answer to humanity's eternal struggle. Mortality.
Guardian
Were it to fall into the wrong hands, humanity and the universe would be utterly doomed.
So based off the evidence that I just provided to you, as well as other forms of evidence we have besides the statements I just played, we actually have a scaling end for the Witness. The Witness is the only character besides the 9 who's been stated to be beyond the entire universe. This means only the Gardener, and the Winnower surpass the Witness. So right now the debate with the Witness is whether or not they're strong, stronger, or weaker than the 9. So compared to every other Destiny character in the story, we can actually just straight up put the Witness at number 1, and to put more salt on the wound, Lightfall's very story confirms this. It even says this multiple times. The Witness is unchallengeable. They will kill us if we ever fought them. So, without a debate, the Witness should easily be number 1 on the tier list. And that's the tier list. So, remember, if you guys have any questions, please post them and I'll try to answer them as quickly as possible. Otherwise, we have to wait until Ruder Nightmares releases so that I have enough content to go ahead and make the top 10 tier list for Lightfall. Ruder Nightmares edition. Otherwise, that's it. My name is Nothing Important here. If you guys want more of this stuff, please let me know and, do the usual. Like, share, subscribe if you're new, And that's it for me. We'll just have to wait until Root of Nightmares before I do part 2 of the Lightfall tier list. And hopefully it goes well. So, have a good night, y'all.